Hi, Service Alternatives, and I hope you're all hanging in there during these very trying times. I've noticed for myself that I'm really having to pay attention to all of the news and the noise really around me. There's all kinds of information happening that we're hearing about every day with the science behind COVID, with data, with difficult stories that families are experiencing, with the shortage of supplies in hospitals, and it's a lot. For me, in order to stay grounded, I'm really needing to think through what I can hear, what I need to know, and I'm needing to control some of the extra around me that isn't helping me stay grounded to lead and to live during this time. I hope each of you is paying attention to how much news you need and how much information you can really absorb for yourself. One of the things that we've been hearing a lot about is the shortage of personal protective equipment. It's a shortage that's happening everywhere. Specifically, what we're hearing about in the news is the shortage for healthcare providers. So you probably have heard that hospitals don't have what they need in terms of nurses and doctors and techs and everybody else providing the care they need for patients. At Service Alternatives, we've been working since the beginning of March to collect that personal protective equipment for our staff in the event that we have a client that is tested for COVID. Thankfully, we haven't needed it yet, knock on wood, and we also need to be prepared. There's quite a bit we're continuing to do, as you saw in the email from Karina yesterday. And if you missed that, please go to the COVID Corner on ADP, and that will tell you what we have done and what we are doing as an organization to make sure that our staff have what they need in the event there's a client that's been that tests positive. So it's a tricky one. The other thing that you're probably hearing a lot about on the news is the CDC came out with a recommendation this week that we wear cloth masks. And to be clear, that is not personal protective equipment. It is something, though, that they're recommending for any of us when we are in situations where it's difficult to socially distance. So I hope each of you is paying attention to that. At Service Alternatives, we've got individuals and communities and teams that are making cloth masks, and you'll see something coming out on social media soon with a mechanism to do that. So for those of you even looking for client activities, there are some of our clients that would probably be very involved and enjoy making these. It's something they can do for themselves, their families, for their friends, for their communities, and it's something that's outward focused, which is something that we know is helpful for all of us to be focused on during this time. So keep your eye on that. There are also some other fun things happening on our social media. I don't know if you saw that we're celebrating Autism Awareness Month with teddy bears, specifically dressing bears in blue and putting them in your windows. We encourage you, whether you're at an office or a program or your own home where you live, to participate in that. I know for my family, we have a bear dressed in blue in my daughter's window, and then we have colored Easter eggs that my daughter colored in my son's window so that kids can participate. So it's just something for us where there's the noise of the media, and then for me, I know that there are some pretty engaging things communities are doing around social media that's good. At Service Alternatives, the activities continue to happen that are interesting and fun for clients. I know in Tacoma, we have supported living clients that participated in their first Zoom bingo, so that was exciting, and that's continuing. We also had a recent client that has been practicing their money counting skills with their staff it's a skill that will help them to go out and get their next job. So that's a neat thing that can be done through Zoom. And then the last thing I wanted to call out today is some really creative work that's happening in our foster care program. So we license foster homes, and that always involves in-person everything. And the licensing team has done a pretty amazing job of adjusting the licensing process, and even home inspections, home touring is being done virtually, which is very unique. Families are continuing to move through the licensing process. There are even some new families that have reached out during this time to become licensed, and foster families are just a critical element to supporting kids, supporting youth. And if you can imagine, it's hard enough for all of us to be sheltering at home when we have a home, and for foster families to be participating by opening up their homes as licensed foster families to kids in need during this time, it's even that much more critical. So thank you to all of you. I hope all of you are taking the time you need for yourselves to stay grounded, to take care of yourselves, and keep staying safe out there, SA. Bye-bye.